Brought to you by Penguin.
A Short History of British Architecture, From Stonehenge to the Shard. Written and read by me, Simon Jenkins. Introduction. Let the buildings speak. My first awareness of British architectural style came when walking through Sicily in my youth. High on Mount Barbaro, I came across the Grecian temple of Segesta. Its sturdy columns and triangular pediments had been left, isolated and unfinished, some 2,500 years ago. They now lay enveloped by trees and wild flowers. But what surprised me was not Segesta's survival, but something quite different, its familiarity. I'd spent my childhood near Regent's Park in London, and my early meanderings took me past the Nash terraces, whose facades fascinated me. Here they were again, but perched on a Sicilian hilltop. What could Regency London possibly have in common with 5th century BC Sicily? What bond united them? The answer was classicism. A similar surprise occurred early in my writing of this book. A vertical white strip rises up the brick facade of my Victorian terrace house in London, apparently marking its boundary with its neighbour. I noticed for the first time that it was not paint, but the ghost of a column flat against the wall, a so-called pilaster, ending in a near invisible capital beneath the roof. This column was repeated evenly 4 times down the terrace. It served no purpose, but was a decorative echo of those same Greek columns at Segesta. What was it doing on a humble London terrace? Such symbols of classicism have recurred throughout my life, as they do for most Britons if they care to notice. We encounter them on schools, libraries and universities. If we sit on the top deck of a bus, or visit the centre of any British town or city, we see Segesta clones looming at us from churches, museums, theatres and public buildings. Classicism's pediments, fluted columns and scrolls survived in Britain for 2 millennia, challenged by only 2 other architectural languages, Gothic and Modernist. But classicism has not vanished. It's in our architectural bones. Architecture is not the same as building, engineering or fortification. These are about structure, a utilitarian response to our need for shelter and protection. Architecture is about how we choose to clothe that structure with meaning or delight. Such clothing has occurred since the dawn of time. The urge to beautify utility is a basic human desire. The Victorian architect George Gilbert Scott called his profession the decoration of necessity. Architecture has been said to start where building stops, where the mason lays down his measure and allows imagination and art to take over his craft. Most of this book records my interest in how this imagination has evolved over centuries. I cannot leave home and walk down a street without noticing how its buildings look. One reason is that this appearance can be beautiful, another that it may be interesting or controversial. Style has caused many, often bitter arguments throughout history, but the reality is that buildings surround us, yet to most people they are a mystery. Few can say why they look as they do, and what their differences signify. Few speak architecture. This book is my attempt to remedy this mystery. Most young people are taught the rudiments of art, drama, music and literature, but curiously few study architecture. It exists in a lost aesthetic realm, somewhere between art and engineering. As tourists, we eagerly seek out old buildings, but generally for their antiquity. A building is not a painting, a sculpture, or a piece of music. Our contact with it confined by space and time. It is like an exhibition that is ubiquitous and inescapable. Yet works of architecture are rarely subject to the same public critique as a new painting, a play, or a film. We're not permitted to take them or leave them. We must take them, as if they were imposed on us by some anonymous power. I derive pleasure from those buildings that make me pause and hear what their designers are trying to tell me. This is particularly...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?